Hello, in this video I want to talk a bit about my setup for head tracking. I use a 3-point model, so I took 3 infrared LEDs and attached those to a few sticks and I power them over USB, and then I have them attached to my headset and my webcam tracks those. If you don't like soldering, you can get ready to use 3-point models from trackhead.org. As a camera, I use the PS3i. It's very cheap. You can get it from Amazon for a few dollars, and it's very nice because it has a very high frame rate. It also has a very weak infrared filter in it, so it lends itself to infrared tracking. You can also remove it on some models, but not all. I will include a link on how to identify those cameras that are good, but don't be afraid. It doesn't matter if you have one where you can't crack it out. I used mine for several months with the infrared filter in. The only thing you can't do is have a bright room in that case. But it works very well nonetheless. As a visible light filter, I just use an exposed piece of film. Some people use floppy disks. As a little tip, it's a good idea to put your camera slightly to the side and pointing downwards so it can also track you when you lean in. The PS3 driver is called CLI driver. It used to be freeware, but for some reason it's payware now. But if you Google, you can probably find it. Just make sure that it's signed by Code Labs. In Opentrack, select the point tracker and click the 3 dots right next to it. In the model tab you can select the dimensions of your model, but I'm just looking at the camera tab. So you select the PS3 camera, and I like to use a low resolution. It's 320 by 240. This has the background that it uses very little CPU time, and if you double your resolution you will quadruple your CPU usage. So use that with caution. I haven't seen a difference between different resolutions myself, so I use the low one. I like to use a high frame rate. This only scales linearly, so double the frame rate, double the CPU time. It has some advantages in smoothing your movements though. I will go into that later. The next few points aren't all that important. Your PS3i has a field of view between 56 and 75 degrees. The dynamic pose things, I haven't seen a difference enabling or disabling them. For the next part, click the start button on the main window, and then you should see the same window as I do. As you can see, I'm looking around, and at some point one of the pixels will start flickering. There we go. And this is because it's the minimum size is just too small, so I'm gonna set that to 1. So now I'm testing it again. I'm looking around a bit. The next thing I'm looking at is the maximum size. So I lean in and I see, yep, and that's okay. So I'm gonna leave it to 5. And the threshold is important. If you put it too high, it will detect nothing. If you put it too low, it detects everything and doesn't work at all. So you should just put it so it just barely detects your 3 points. I've put mine in this video a bit too low, so at some point it will detect a phantom point. So you should probably err a bit on the cautious side. The next important part is the filters. They smooth out the movement that the point tracker will send to Opentrack. The top one is smoothing. It will take, in this case, 30 milliseconds of frames to smooth out the movement. So if you put it very high, it will take a much longer time. So if you look at now, I'm gonna put it up and it's gonna smooth out the movements again. The problem now is I have a much higher latency because it will have to gather for the frames from 1/10 of a second until it can do stuff. I like to keep it very low, and that's what makes a high frame rate very nice. The next part is the rotational sensitivity. This smooths out small movements until it reaches this threshold, and then it's gonna turn your head in game again. This is different to the dead zone, where it will just completely ignore any movements at all. So use the dead zone with caution because it can introduce some lag. The next two options, the translational ones, are exactly the same as the rotational ones, so I'm not gonna go into those. As you can see, the movement is now nice and smooth, and I can look around without it jittering at all. Next up is the mappings. This is also a very important part because you can change how the game reacts to your head's movements. I generally use them by turning my head and so it's still comfortable, and I look where that is and then set that to the highest I want it to go in the game. And that's pretty much it for the mappings. And then at the last point is the options. You can set key bindings there to recenter your track IR. You can also change which axes are exported to your game. So if you don't want to lean in or sideways in your game, you can just disable them in there. And that's pretty much it for Opentrack. I hope this helped setting up your head tracking solution and that you have a lot of fun with it.